Picture a standard Tuesday morning in a dense urban center. Horns blaring, thousands of overlapping conversations, the low hum of engines, and the constant erratic motion of commuters rushing to work. It is a system defined by constant chaotic noise and movement. Then, without warning, the physics of the environment shattered. Cars didn't brake to a halt. Pedestrians didn't slow their pace. Everything moving snapped into a rigid stillness mid-stride and mid-rotation, ignoring the basic laws of inertia, and the noise went with it. The sprawling, multi-layered roar of the city didn't fade out. The chaotic frequencies of millions of sound waves hit a hard vertical wall, cutting instantly to zero. A massive, low-frequency wave arrived, sitting so deep in the spectrum it erased every other vibration, creating a vacuum. The unseen, frequency-based pressure overrode the natural chaos, replacing organic motion with an artificial, forced stillness. Experiencing a sudden, total loss of sensory input, your brain defaults to the most logical assumption: internal biological failure. You assume a sudden stroke, an instant deafness, or a severe neurological break. But that diagnosis falls apart when you examine the people around you. The bodies scattered across the street aren't unconscious or limp. They are locked in impossible, unbalanced postures. Their muscles are rigid, eyes wide open and unblinking. I took a step forward. My muscles worked. My breath was steady. I was navigating through a sea of human statues, walking freely past a suspended reality that had trapped everyone else in place. In a city of millions, every other person had entered a forced standby mode, leaving a single, unsynced human being wandering through the gap in the system. That deep, underlying frequency begins to shift, compressing and vibrating the air until it forms clear, localized syllables, bleeding out from everywhere. A simple command: look forward. The paralysis functions as a global standby mode, a forced pause that holds every motor function in check until the next central instruction arrives. Upon receiving that command, the standby state ends. Thousands of frozen individuals violently snap their heads forward at the exact same mechanical millisecond, executing the instruction without hesitation. The ambient noise of the city rushing back sounds hollow. Engines idle and footsteps resume, but the chaotic rhythm of independent human action is gone, replaced by a rigid, synchronized uniformity. The thousands of people moving in the street now function as identical biological notes, each executing the same central broadcast with total precision. Then the vocalizations start. Disparate voices across the street, men, women, children, begin to speak. They aren't shouting, and they don't speak in unison, but they repeat the same system instructions in a flat, dead tone. Listen. Focus. Don't move. This is acoustic synchronization. Thousands of unique vocal patterns align perfectly into a single destructive geometric audio loop. Covering your ears offers zero protection. The acoustic pressure bypasses eardrums entirely, shifting into a physical vibration wrapping directly around your neural pathways. You aren't running from a predator with a physical shape. You are being hunted by an encroaching, omnipresent noise that fills every available centimeter of space, pushing you into an ever-shrinking corner. These layered sound waves format and overwrite conscious thought, spreading through the air until the human mind is completely reformatted by the frequency. The overlapping voices eventually converge directly behind me, the frequency condensing into a highly localized point. A clear voice states, "You're the last one." The network has identified the final missing piece required to close its loop. Turning to face it reveals no face at all. The source of the broadcast is a vibrating tear in the environment, a severe spatial distortion that aggressively bends the light and matter around it, like a software glitch manifesting in physical reality. The entity makes no move to attack. It doesn't possess limbs or weapons, and it doesn't need them. It stands perfectly still, relying entirely on the surrounding, already assimilated environment to corner its remaining prey. You cannot fight a flaw in space, and you cannot flee when the physical world itself acts as a hostile extension of the entity's will. The environment locks down again. The ambient noise drops back to absolute zero, and thousands of heads turn in perfect unison. A massive sea of blank faces stares directly at me, channeling the full weight of the hive mind onto a single coordinate. The static anomaly delivers its final instruction. This time, the command isn't broadcast to the crowd. It is directed exclusively at me. Say it. Conscious resistance fails. My jaw unhinges and my vocal cords engage entirely against my will, operated remotely by the acoustic pressure driving into my brain. The exact moment the word leaves my mouth, the entire city repeats it back. A perfect, instantaneous echo from thousands of throats signals that the network has closed its loop. The individual self vanishes into the collective, leaving thousands of people to act, think, and speak as a single, flawless unit.